Hi, it's Paddy Hirsch at Marketplace. So where do companies keep all of their cash? I mean, we know they're hoarding vast amounts of cash these days, up to historic levels. And we've got companies like Apple, which have got, $76 billion in cash on their balance sheet, or at least that's what we're told. But here's the thing about cash. It's not actually cash. I mean, it's not, when people talk about Apple's $76 billion in cash, they're not talking about like a big load of cash in a bank vault somewhere or in a Swiss bank or something like this. What they're doing is they're quoting from a line in the company's balance sheet, okay, or not, it's in its annual report, which is called cash equivalents, and marketable securities, okay. So while companies do have some cash, it's not all cash. And what they've done is they've taken this cash and they've converted it into different things in order to put it in little sort of different storage piles to use it at different times. So cash is obviously cash money. Cash equivalents are money market mutual funds. Okay, so money markets. And then securities, well, securities are what it sounds like. It can be anything from corporate bonds to government securities, to foreign securities, to CDs, all sorts of things. It kind of runs the gamut, but it divides into two parts. All right, we've got these long-term securities and these short-term securities. Now, the reason a company does this with its cash, divides it into these kind of storage areas, is the same reason that a body does it with food. Think about a body eats a bunch of food. It doesn't keep it in the belly, right? It sort of converts it into different places. The first place it converts it to is to muscle carbs. Okay, so you've got these carbohydrates that are stored in the muscle. The next place it's converted to is into fat, and the third place it's converted to is into muscle protein. Okay, so if we think of this body like a company. Say the body starts to work out, the body starts running. Say we're going for a marathon. The night before, we've eaten a bunch of pasta, which is sitting in the belly in the morning, ready to be burned. That food, okay, is just like this instant cash. Okay, so it burns, at a split second. It gets immediately, it's immediate energy. Okay, the next thing that the body does, so that's like a company. All it has to do is take the cash out of the bank and it can spend it. The next thing a body does, once it's done with the food in its belly, it starts in on the muscle carbs. So in a company's case, the company decides we need some cash. We burned all of our cash in the bank up, so we'll just call our money market guys. We'll say, hey guys, we want to convert our money market shares into cash. It's an immediate transaction, really, really quickly, just like the way that muscle carbs convert into energy. The third place that the body goes to is into the fat deposits. For companies, this is when it gets into its securities, okay? And these securities obviously have to have a counterparty. If you want to sell your bonds, somebody's going to have to buy those bonds. So it's a very quick transaction, because the market for these long-term and short-term securities, both long and short, are very, very deep and very, very liquid, which means that you can make a conversion very, very quickly. But it does require this counterparty. So that phone call is kind of like the body saying, hey, fat cells, I'm going to start burning you. And when those fat cells are gone, hey, protein cells in the muscles, I'm going to start burning you. It's the same thing. Company calls up, gets its securities converted into cash, and it can start to use those. So if we were going to say Apple, what does Apple look like? If we were going to call Apple a body, what would it look like? Well, so here's Mr. Apple. Here he is, and actually he'd be in actually very, very good shape. All right. Basically, what he'd have is he'd have very, very good muscle tone, as we know. I mean, look at him down here. It's $76 billion. He's going to be fine. So he's got great muscle tone. He's also got a nice layer of subcutaneous fat, maybe a little bit of a belly. So he's looking pretty shiny and healthy. But as we know with Apple, actually, Apple's got about $3 billion in actual real cash in the bank. So that means that Mr. Apple down here, he would have actually a nice meal in his stomach, all ready to go. Now, so I hope this has explained to you, what actually happens with the company's cash when it does these conversions. And to understand why, once again, think about the body walking around with just a belly full of food. It wouldn't be particularly comfortable if it wasn't converted into anything else. Same with a company. If a company just had a vault full of cash, it wouldn't be particularly comfortable for it. I mean, a vault full of cash is a kind of a dangerous thing. If it's all in one place, it could get lost. It could burn up. I mean, somebody might steal it. All it takes is a click of a mouse these days. And if that happened, that would leave Apple, its shareholders, and all of the people who do business with it. There's a lot of people these days, all those iPad buyers, would leave all of us very badly needing a drink.